आप और मैं हूं आपके साथ गौरव राजेंद्र। बुलेटिन की शुरुआत करते हैं। केंद्रीय विद्युत और आवास मंत्री मनोहर लाल ने नई दिल्ली में केंद्रीय विद्युत नियामक आयोग के तत्वाधान में नियामकों के मंच के साथ बातचीत की है और चर्चा राज्य बिजली नियामकों की प्रभावशीलता को बढ़ाने पर केंद्रित थी। केंद्रीय मंत्री मनोहर लाल ने चर्चा की। विद्युत नियामक आयोग से ये चर्चा हुई है, बातचीत हुई है। केंद्रीय मंत्री मनोहर लाल ने चर्चा की। बता दें कि ये चर्चा केंद्रीय मंत्री मनोहर लाल ने बातचीत की। विद्युत नियामक आयोग से ये चर्चा हुई है। उधर मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने शुक्रवार को राजभवन में राज्यपाल से मुलाकात की। आपको बता दें कि राज्यपाल आनंदीबेन पटेल से ये मुलाकात हुई है। साथ ही बता दें कि उन्होंने विवेकानंद तिवारी द्वारा लिखित पुस्तक सनातन समागम महाकुंभ की भेंट की। सीएम योगी आदित्यनाथ ने मुलाकात हुई और सनातन समागम में जो है महाकुंभ पुस्तक जो है भेंट की है। राज्यपाल आनंदीबेन पटेल से मुलाकात हुई है। सीएम योगी आदित्यनाथ ने मुलाकात की। सीएम योगी आदित्यनाथ ने मुलाकात की और सनातन समागम महाकुंभ पुस्तक भेंट की। उधर मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने लखनऊ में $1 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी की समीक्षा बैठक की। उधर लखनऊ में मुख्य सचिव मनोज कुमार सिंह की अध्यक्षता में वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के माध्यम से समस्त मंडलायुक्तों और जिलाधिकारियों के साथ साप्ताहिक समीक्षा बैठक की, जिसमें तय किया गया कि जीरो पॉवर्टी उत्तर प्रदेश अभियान के तहत निर्धनता परिवारों के चयन की कार्रवाई 25 अक्टूबर से शुरू होगी। आपको बता दें कि जनप्रतिनिधियों को प्रोटोकॉल के अनुसार पूरा सम्मान दिया जाएगा। साथ ही पराली जलाने की घटनाओं की रोकथाम और पराली प्रबंधन के लिए जागरूकता अभियान चलाने पर चर्चा की गई। साथ ही आपको बता दें कि पीसीएस 2024 परीक्षा के नकल विहीन और पारदर्शिता के साथ संपन्न कराने के लिए पूरा व्यवस्था करने के आदेश दिए। उधर गौतम बुद्ध नगर की थाना सेक्टर 39 नोएडा
21 gun salute in her honor. The Vice President thereafter introduced Honorable President to several members of the Malawi Cabinet of Ministers and other senior dignitaries. Friends, coming to the background of this visit, India was one of the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with Malawi soon after the country's independence in 1964. India and Malawi share a cordial and friendly relationship reinforced by strong people-to-people ties which span over 140 years. Malawi remains one of our special partners in Africa, and India has strong development partnership with Malawi. It is in this context that the visit of the Honorable President assumes great significance. Coincidentally, this year also marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two countries. I must add here that our people-to-people ties predate our official relations and go back over a century. Now coming to the engagements of the Honorable President began in the morning of 17th October with the India-Malawi Business Roundtable, where she delivered the keynote address. Minister of Trade and Industry of Malawi, His Excellency Mr. Sosten Alfred Gwenge, also attended this business roundtable, which was organized by the Confederation of Indian Industries. There were several other ministers from the Malawian government present at this forum. Over 60 companies from both India and Malawi participated at this event. In her keynote address, the Honorable President of India observed that there was immense scope for enhancing cooperation between India and Malawi in several fields, including agriculture, mining, energy, and tourism. She expressed the belief that this roundtable would prove to be an important milestone in developing trade and economic cooperation between the two countries. The forum is continuing even today. Later in the evening of 17 October, a community interaction was held where the Honorable President of India addressed the community members of Indian origin and Indian nationals who are living in Malawi. The Indian diaspora in Malawi is estimated to be nearly 15,000. Our friendly bilateral relations are reinforced by the strong people-to-people ties. In her address, the Honorable President appreciated the contribution of the Indian diaspora to the growth and development of Malawi and described them as an important bridge between the two countries. She urged them to take part in the development journey of India. The engagements of the Honorable President of India began today morning by laying of a wreath at the National War Memorial in Lilongwe, which also commemorates the fallen Indian soldiers during the two world wars. Thereafter, she visited and paid tributes at the mausoleum of former President of Malawi, Dr. Kamuzu Banda. Honorable President thereafter held official talks with President of Malawi, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, at the State House. There was a tete-a-tete between the two leaders, followed by delegation-level talks. The meetings were extremely warm and friendly. During the meeting, both leaders discussed a wide range of issues on the bilateral cooperation between India and Malawi. Both sides reaffirmed their mutual trust and strong commitment towards enhancing the bilateral partnership for progress and prosperity of the people of both the countries. Both leaders agreed to enhance cooperation in the areas of capacity building, economic engagement, development partnership, and people-to-people exchanges. Following the bilateral talks, both the leaders witnessed the signing and exchanging of 4 memorandums of understanding in the fields of art and culture, cooperation on youth matters, sports cooperation, and pharmacopoeial cooperation. I would just like to give you a little bit of idea about each of the MOUs that were signed. The MOU on sports cooperation will provide for a framework to strengthen and encourage cooperation between India and Malawi on sports matters through events and activities organized by both countries on the basis of reciprocity and mutual benefit. The MOU on cooperation on youth matters between the two countries will focus on strengthening cooperation between India and Malawi in areas such as youth exchange programs, youth conferences, emerging youth issues, among others. The one on cooperation in the field of arts and culture will strengthen and deepen friendly cultural relations between both countries in the field of music, dance, theatre, art, archaeology, archives, library, and museum, to name a few. The one on pharmacopoeial cooperation will ensure better scope for development of generic medicines and availability of affordable medicines in Malawi. It will also enhance the ability of regulatory public health authorities of both the countries to meet the needs of their respective populations and provide opportunities for technical cooperation in areas which are of mutual benefit. Following the signing of these 4 MOUs, the two leaders also witnessed the symbolic handing over of 1,000 metric tons of rice and the Bhabatron cancer treating machine to Malawi. Both these are gifts as a goodwill gesture from India to Malawi. As a humanitarian initiative, the Honorable President of India also announced the setting up of a permanent artificial limb replacement center for the people of Malawi. The Honorable President of India invited President Dr. Chakwera to visit India, which was graciously accepted. The mutually convenient dates for the visit would be finalized through the normal diplomatic channels. Friends, the visit of the Honorable President of India is continuing, and later in the evening today, President Chakwera will be hosting a state banquet in honor of the Honorable President of India at the State House. Tomorrow, Honorable President of India will be visiting the Sri Radhakrishna Temple in Lilongwe, which was established more than 50 years ago. To boost the tourism potential of Malawi, she will also be visiting the Lake Malawi before her departure for India from Malawi. Before concluding, friends, I would like to mention that this first ever presidential visit to Malawi will add a new chapter in the history of bilateral relations of India and Malawi. It reinforces the long-standing friendship between India and Malawi and sets the stage for elevating our multifaceted partnership with Malawi to greater heights. Zikomo Kwamberi. When we are looking at, the trade and commercial relations between India, if I start from there, then as I just mentioned that our trade relations is just not of today, but these are historic and they really go back to the 19th century, which coincided with the arrival of several Indian tradesmen, mainly from Gujarat and to the African subcontinent. Now, Malawi, being an LDC, is also the beneficiary under Government of India's duty-free tariff preference schemes, which were introduced in April 2008. We have removed the quota for import of pigeon peas from Malawi, and the bilateral trade between India and Malawi has also been growing. And as per the 21-22 data that I have, the bilateral trade stood at around $256 million US, though we had expected that the COVID pandemic would push it down, but we are happy that the trade continued. India also happens to be one of the largest investors in Malawi, with over $500 million worth of investments. If I were to touch upon the current relationship that is there between India, as I mentioned in my briefing, that both our countries have very cordial and very friendly relationship. This is based on mutual respect, cooperation, and very strong people-to-people contacts. We were one of the first countries to establish diplomatic relationship with Malawi soon after its independence. And our contacts, as I mentioned, is not of today, but goes back almost 140 years. Our common faith in democratic values and pluralism makes India and Malawi mutual natural partners. And this partnership has been reinforced by regular visits and high-level contacts. India remains one of the major development partners of Malawi. Besides strong bilateral relationship, our countries also work closely in several multilateral fora on various issues of common interest. Our partnership for progress and prosperity is poised to further expand and deepen across diverse areas following this first historic visit of the Honorable President of India to Malawi. Regarding the Cancer Treatment Center, we are expecting and that the process of setting it up, completion would take place very, very soon, and the treatment of patients will start at the earliest. It would be at this moment difficult for me to commit any timelines. So I would just request you for this moment to take note that it is going to happen very soon. So as my High Commissioner points out, that hopefully by next month this should start functioning, and we are just waiting for the source material for the commencement of the Babatron equipment, following which the treatment of patients will start. Regarding the question on the Artificial Limb Center that you mentioned, a camp was recently held in Malawi, which was conducted by the Jaipur Foot. This was deeply appreciated here. Given the response to this temporary camp that we witnessed, it has now been decided, like the Honorable President today made an announcement, that we will establish a permanent camp as a fitment center for the Jaipur Foot. We already have most of the machinery required for this fitment. We are getting more artificial limbs and would be identifying the space at a local medical center to start the fitment camp. All I can say is that the process is going on, and very soon we will be able to announce its commencement. So that day is not very far off. Madam, your question regarding the whether the issue of restructuring or repayment was discussed. We would like to just inform you that there was a request from the Malawi government for debt restructuring, and the government of India has agreed to the request for the deferment of the debt payment. We are also committed to provide any debt relief to the government of Malawi if necessary. Our technical teams, that is both from the government of Malawi side as well as the government of India side, we are working, and we are very, very confident that we will be able to arrive at mutually convenient solutions on this matter. The last question was whether any further LOC line of credit is being talked about. At this moment, we are not discussing any line of credit with a fresh line of credit. Lines of credit are extended only once when there is a request from the recipient government. We have some of the lines of credit which are still under execution, so we are at this moment focusing on completing the work.
बुलेटिन में मेरे साथ इतना ही।